Alright, so what I think I'm gonna do with this video, with the traffic coming up, I'm gonna kind of just verbalize my thoughts and my thought process that when maneuvering through traffic. Just so maybe for any new riders, maybe, that might be nervous or apprehensive about having to get into traffic in a city on a motorcycle, because it's definitely a completely different dynamic that you're working with compared to when you're in your car. You just have a lot more factors to think about, a lot more things to keep in mind when on the bike, especially in traffic. So yeah, but I would say some of the most important things, or one of the most important things, is to always keep your distance on people. Like, you know, especially when it comes to like being on the highway, you don't want to be too close behind someone, because if they slam on their brakes, a lot of the times a car can stop a lot quicker and a lot safer than you can on two wheels. You know, with varying skill levels, of course, but especially for new riders, your emergency stopping skill may not be that great, and a car has a lot more of a contact patch because they have 4 tires and they're usually much bigger than yours, and also have twice the amount of brakes as you, so usually a car can stop quicker than you. So you want to keep your distance. When you're here at the light, always watch the other lights so you can kind of get an idea of when it'll be your turn, so you can get an idea of when to start moving. Majority of accidents, car and motorcycle, do happen at intersections, so before you advance through the intersection, obviously, just look both left and right. Yeah, so I'm going to be making a right turn up here behind this semi, so I think in order to avoid being behind it, I am going to... Oh no, okay, well, luckily the light, you got the light, so... So despite most cars being able to brake faster than you, you will be able to accelerate on any kind of bike, or most bikes on the road. You can accelerate faster than a lot of them, so use that to your advantage to stay out of danger zones. So, shoulder check always. Yeah, look at this guy. Yeah, that guy did not even see me. Stay out of blind spots. And lane position is very important, not only for like your traction, but also for your visibility. From the first lane position, you have the most visibility to the other cars around you. Out for shit like that, or someone just moves over like 4 lanes at once. More likely than not, if they're coming from 3 lanes over, they probably won't see you. Kind of my philosophy behind riding in traffic is that it's better to be moving a little bit quicker than traffic than moving at the same pace as traffic, because that is how you get knocked out. So don't be afraid to go a little bit faster than traffic. Then look as far ahead as possible. Do not want to be looking right in front of you. As far ahead as possible, so you can see slows or where traffic is slowing, or you could see if there's debris on the road. You could see if there's a lane closure, anything like that. If I'm looking further ahead, I can see traffic slowing a little bit, so I'm going to bring my throttle down. Probably even downshift it one. Maybe not. Leave it. But when you do downshift and you hit your rev match, just tap your brake a little bit so the car behind you knows that you're slowing. So like just there, I tap my brake a little bit so that car behind me knows I'm slowing. They're pretty close behind me, so I don't want to be too aggressive on my braking. See, I have space now, I can take it. This guy's trying to get over, get out of his way. Work through my gears. Because a lot of times I have people ask me, they're like, oh man, you ride a bike and you sit, that's so scary because there's so many crazy drivers. Yeah, there are a lot of crazy drivers, but as a rider, you need to do your best to anticipate, and you can't anticipate everything. You know, I don't have a crystal ball, I can't see the future, but you see a lot of patterns in how people drive. So I see traffic slowing a little bit, so I'm gonna bring it down a little. There is a car behind me, pretty close, so I am going to make sure to tap my brake a little when downshifting, so they know I'm slowing a little. My distance. This guy's got his blinker on, but he doesn't look like he wants to move. Probably forgot his signals on, but still you want to make sure he has space that he can get over. Slowing down a little. Okay, so once you get into these slower situations is when you want to be careful, because people are gonna all try to move around. Now we're just stopped in the middle of the highway, so might be able to pull a little sneaky here. I'm gonna advise against doing this, just because on the shoulder there's always so much like random bullshit. But if you are doing it, same rules are gonna apply. Like, just look as far ahead as possible, because there's always going to be a lot of debris on the shoulders, so you want to don't rip it down the shoulder. Like you can see, I'm only going like 40 on the shoulder because I need to give myself time to react to any debris that could be in front of me. So my exit's coming up in about half a mile. It's going to be 3 lanes over on my right. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just looking for an opportunity to get in. You can see the traffic is backed all the way up here, so save my time. But yeah, some people disagree with riding on the shoulder, and they would prefer to just split the lanes on the highway. But me personally, I'm not at a point right now where I feel comfortable with splitting lanes through moving traffic. And that's just like personal preference sort of thing. I feel like the shoulder, I have space, and like I can make an opportunity for myself to get in. So like right here in front of this white truck, I am gonna try and get in. I'll give him a little look so he knows. This guy's gonna probably let me through too. there we go. Yeah, it's important to keep in mind what gear you're in, just so you don't run the risk of bogging down the bike, possibly stalling out. Another rider. I wanted to try and wave at him, but I got too much going on in front of me. Yeah. Also, the kind of gear, or the gear that you're wearing, it's, you hear it everywhere, that gear is so important. Yes, gear is expensive, but this is the only protection that you have while you're on the motorcycle, is your gear. So skimping on gear, or not even getting gear, is one of the dumbest things you can do. Like, just don't ride at that point, because you're gonna paint a sidewalk if you don't have gear. Alright, so we keep looking up ahead. And one thing I can highly recommend, or piece of gear wise at least, is a reflective backpack that has any sort of reflector. And like, even if you don't want to spend the money on like a nice backpack, because don't get me wrong, it can be expensive, you could just buy like reflective tape and put it on the back of a backpack, and that's so much better than wearing just like a black jacket, you know. So I'm gonna try and split here, or filter, so I'm gonna fold my mirror up. So I'm trying to see where the traffic is moving, because usually at the lights there's always going to be the one person that, well, there's always going to be a space for you to come through, especially once the light turns green. And then we've made it far up enough to where I'll get the next light, so don't need to push it any further. Also, road rage here in Houston, we get a lot of road rage. So just don't make people mad. Be respectful to people still on the road. Like, yes, there are certain things you need to do that people will not fully understand why you're cutting through the lanes at the stoplight, cutting in front of them. But if someone gets mad, then just stay calm, you know, and don't let it affect you. Or if someone does some crazy shit to you, or cuts you off, or almost runs you off the road, like, it happens. It happens all the time. So, one, just anticipate it. So don't put yourself in that position. And two, like, if it happens, it happens. Just keep going, continue with your ride, and continue to consider how lucky you are that you get to keep riding. So, yeah, it's frustrating almost getting ran off the road by someone who's not paying attention. It's happened to me countless times, but like, it's not worth chasing anyone down and punching a mirror and damaging someone's stuff. You know, people make mistakes. as a rider, you make mistakes. I make mistakes, so. That area is always sketch. People always do some crazy stuff right there. So I made the mistake there of being too close behind that red car, and I didn't have enough space to react. And rather than slamming on my brakes because that person was stopping, I maneuvered around. Yeah, I chose to maneuver around rather than slamming on my brakes, because that poses a lot more risk. I could get rear-ended, or I could grab my brakes too hard and fall, drop the bike, and then get potentially ran over by a car. So always having an escape route and seeing a line in front of you that you can take safely is insanely important. That's why you need to think ahead. But if I could go back to that moment, I would have given that red car a little bit more space and anticipated a little better about people switching over in all the lanes, because it always happens in that area. So